Need for Speed The Run is probably one of the best Need for Speed games of all time, and here's why. Now, as you can see, this game had a lot of character, specifically for a car game. Now, there's only one car game I've ever really known to have as much character as this, and here's the clip. Now, Test Drive Unlimited 2 is a game I played, finished, and owned, so I know quite a bit about the game, but that's something for another video. Let me continue. Now, Need for Speed The Run is a very unique game still to this day. And before I continue, let's just talk a little bit about what Need for Speed The Run is exactly about. And it reads as follows. Need for Speed The Run is a 2011 racing video game and the 18th title in the Need for Speed series, published by Electronic Arts, was released on November 15th, 2011. With EA Black Box developed versions for PlayStation 3, Windows, Xbox 360, while Firebrand developed versions for the 3DS and Wii. An iOS version was planned to be developed by EA but was eventually cancelled. The game focuses on point-to-point races involving overtaking opponents, defeating rivals, time attacks, and evading the efforts of both police and criminal gang members to stop them. Unlike previous entries in the series, the run features an extensive collection of races and set against real-life locations, including the cities of New York, Chicago, Las Vegas, and San Francisco, and features a wide variety of real-life cars to drive in. The game's career mode sees players assume the role of a street racer taking part in a large-scale race from San Francisco to New York and seeking to win it against various odds. While the game received an extensive marketing and heavy promotion from its developers, it received mixed reviews from critics following its release. It was the last game that was developed by EA Black Box, and EA Black Box as the studios was shut down in April 2013. As of 2021, Need for Speed The Run is no longer available for purchase in any online stores. And that kind of brings up what really happened to Need for Speed. It kind of stopped dead in its tracks when they stopped releasing this game online. Now, there's quite a lot of information about this game, and it's a really interesting video game if you really delve deep into it. But let me talk about the story. Jack Roker, an experienced street racer, finds himself in serious trouble with the mob due to a massive debt with them. After narrowly escaping being crushed with his car at the scrapyard in Oakland due to his failure to repay what he owes, Roker evades his captors by stealing one of their cars. Heading to San Francisco, he makes contact with his friend Sam Harper, a fixer who arranges his entry into street races, who offers to help him deal with the mob on one condition: Roca must enter an illegal large-scale street race from San Francisco to New York, for which she will front the entry fee and win the race's cash pot for 25 million for her. Roca agrees to a condition, knowing that he will be allowed to keep 10% of the prize money for himself, and receives a tablet device from the race's mysterious organizer that details the race routes. Now let me talk about the ending quickly so I can carry on with the rest of the story of this video. Following the race's conclusion, Roca meets with Harper in a street-side diner, who reveals his trouble with the mob has been dealt with. Upon receiving a key to a safety deposit box containing his cut of the prize money, Harper suggests that he take time to relax, but upon seeing him question this, she offers him an opportunity to double his money, stating that she got a call to another high-stake race. Now, as you can see, this is probably hinting to a sequel, but since Black Box was shut down, there was no sequel to there was no ever hint about a sequel. Now, the truth is, we need to talk about what Need for Speed The Run actually meant as a video game, specifically in the whole Need for Speed series. This is like one of the most story-driven narratives I've ever seen in any Need for Speed game, because Need for Speed has never really known to have a main protagonist. It's just known to always be some unknown racer, or that of, you know, for example, Need for Speed Pro Street's main protagonist, who was a person, but you would never hear his voice, he just had a helmet. Now, the truth is, this game was probably one of the most influential games of all the Need for Speed, of all the Need for Speed games. Now, this game actually had a multiplayer. As for being a story-driven Need for Speed that had a very linear path. But let's talk about the multiplayer. Up to 8 players can participate in a single online match. Players are able to party with friends, pick a playlist of their favorite challenges, and compete for supremacy across every stage of game. In addition to this, players never have to wait in a lobby again, even if they are joining a race in progress. The multiplayer matches are split into differing game type playlists, such as a supercar challenge, NFS edition racing, the underground, mixed competition, exotic sprint, and muscle car battles. Most of these modes pertain to different car varieties of each race, but the supercar race challenge is meant to entirely for the fastest cars on the fastest tracks. The player can select an event and vote towards the race course when the multiplayer game should be taking place on. Players also take part in a reward system known as the bonus wheel, which randomly selects a reward and required goal criteria for it. Now, the thing is, this game went through a pretty heavy and extensive marketing. Probably one of the biggest marketing I've ever seen or heard from a Need for Speed game. But this was a real world Need for Speed with real licensed cars and essentially real people. But let me talk about the marketing, because it's pretty interesting as to who they actually marketed it to and how they actually used to market. There was even a competition to essentially win Jack Rourke's Porsche Carrera S, the one that gets crushed in the beginning of the game, and it reads as follows: in Need for Speed The Run, you get behind the wheel of some of the most sought after cars on the planet. Starting today, you have a chance to win one of those cars in your garage in real life. We're giving away one gorgeous 2012 Porsche Carrera S. All you have to do is enter by logging in with your account or register for free. And that's crazy. I mean, because by this game, Jack Rourke owned a Porsche in the beginning of the game. So it kind of pertains to him having something or a life before that. Lord knows who he is, because no one really stipulates much about his character. There's very little character development in this game. You pretty much play a set character who's a set person and whatever. But yes, let me continue. Now, this is how the game was marketed. Electronic Arts and Sports Illustrated announced a marketing partnership for the Need for Speed franchise, bringing together the worlds of fashion, video games, cars, and beauty in a first-of-a-kind partnership. EA announced that the likeness of 2012 Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue cover model Irina Shayk and model Chrissy Teigen appears in the game as part of the promotional deal struck between the game publisher and popular sports magazine. So one of the two female protagonists in the video game are essentially portrays of two real world models, Irina Shayk and Chrissy Teigen. Now Irina Shayk is actually a model who was in a relationship with Cristiano Ronaldo, and who was in a relationship with the famous footballer Cristiano Ronaldo and the very famous Hollywood actor Bradley Cooper, and they share a child together. And as you know, Chrissy Teigen is married to the big singer John Legend. So these are not two small people. These are very big. These are very two big public figures. And the other thing is that this reads as follows. This is another crazy part. The cross promotion isn't limited to the model's appearance in the game. Sports Illustrated is a featured advertiser on billboards that appear in the gamescape. Sports Illustrated offered a bundle that saw buyers receive a 6-month all-access subscription to Sports Illustrated, a copy of Need for Speed The Run for PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, and a Making of Need for Speed The Run documentary DVD starring the two swimsuit models. EA also collaborated with Adidas to produce a 100 pair of shoes tied into Need for Speed The Run. The first 50 pair of shoes was available at the Adidas original Chicago store on October 10th, with another 50 available at the San Francisco store on October 22nd. The first to purchase the shoe was invited to exclusive kickoff events at the stores a few days later. So that's insane. There was some really heavy marketing for this game. They actually made a tie-in shoe for the game. And the funny thing is that Jack Roque was actually apparently wearing Adidas shoes in the game. So this game had extensive marketing and production, and essentially used a lot of real-world licensed things. But the biggest issue with this game is what the critics actually thought of it. And it's kind of sad that this game never got its due diligence, because this game could have been something that could have set the game off, or could have set Need for Speed off into many various directions. Like that one Need for Speed that we all want to see in Tokyo or Japan. We could have had it, because Need for Speed The Run was based in a real world location, which is essentially America. So you could say, and even as well, Black Box made Need for Speed World. So Need for Speed World could have been a real world thing, and this Need for Speed is probably one of the biggest ones, because it actually had a character that we could cling to. Like with the latest Need for Speed games, they have different various protagonists, and you don't really get an experience of anyone to cling to. But the truth is that this game could have been a stepping stone towards something more. And the thing that people didn't understand, this game was heavily misunderstood. It wasn't a bad game. This game was heavily misunderstood and was probably more of a social experiment than anything else, than an official game. Because this game isn't a very long game. It's only about, I think, 4 hours of gameplay. And it's really sad that since Black Box has been shut down, like, we would never know what they would have actually come up with, because this game would have definitely had a number 2. And yes, I get it. The open world wasn't like, this game was not open world, but it had many various real cool locations in the video game, different environments and different places and scenery, and probably good and decent voice acting too. The writing of the story was a little bit iffy, and they probably rushed this game, because if Black Box really had all the money at their disposal to make this game the way they wanted to make it, because they even had an advert that was directed by Michael Bay. And for a Need for Speed game, this is the first of its kind, but it's sad that it went unappreciated and was taken off stores, so it was essentially killed because the critics hated it. But if you ask me, no Black Box, no good Need for Speed games. And I think I'll end the video off there. I will try and make more Need for Speed videos. I'll try and make more other videos coming soon. This is the Chili Man signing off. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.